Before I begin, I request that anyone who watches this video downloads it. In the event it is fraudulently removed from YouTube or any other video hosting website, it will make life much easier to have multiple copies available for re-upload. If you are unsure, details on how to download videos are in the description. The following was sent by international recorded delivery to Mr Peter Goodgold, President of Waterworks4u. The letter was penned with the valued and sage assistance of Robert Dougans, a solicitor who amongst his prestigious awards, publications and representative experience once worked on and won a case for the very kind gentleman who recommended him, one Mr Singh MBE. I publicly offer my thanks to these gentlemen, and the other persons working behind the scenes who wish for now to remain anonymous. Without their support and the support of my subscribers, this protracted confrontation would have been a much harder challenge. Under the advice of Mr Dougans, I am making this letter public. 28th of March, 2011. Peter Goodgold, President, Waterworks4u, Company Address. Dear Mr Goodgold, as you are aware, on the 13th of November 2010, I published a video on the well-known internet site youtube.com entitled Water Everywhere, but none of these drips can think. This shall be referred to as the video. The video dealt with so-called water wackos. One of the featured water wackos was the machine to produce ionized water, to be known as the machine, which is promoted by your company via the website waterworks4u.com. The purpose of the video is to set out what is clear to anyone with a proper understanding of science, namely that whilst the claims made for the machine are scientifically implausible, if the machine actually did perform as planned, it would be dangerous, not least in that it would be producing bleach for people to drink. Your response to the video has been twofold. 1. On the 30th of January 2011, your company sent me a notice accusing me of breach of copyright and making slanderous remarks about yourself. 2. On the 1st of February 2011, your company, presumably with your full consent, filed a Digital Millennium Copyright Act notice, to be known as the notice, with YouTube. I shall deal with each of these in turn. Defamation. Under English law, any liability that might attract for publication of the video would be liable, not slander. Nevertheless, having spoken with a leading lawyer in this area, I have been advised what I, in any event, believe to be the case, namely that the video would be protected from an action for libel brought by you by the defences of justification, truth, and honest opinion, formerly known as fair comment. I do not propose to set out these defences in detail at this stage, but I am certain that the video, as it refers to you and or your company, set out information which is either factually correct, or my honest and reasonable opinion upon facts which I was aware at the time, and which are a matter of public interest. Since you have made the threats, a number of eminent scientists, including Professor Ray Tallis, Professor Edzard Ernst, and Professor David Colquhoun, have looked at the video and are clear that the video is either factually correct or a reasonably held opinion, which they all share, based on verifiable faults. In the event that this matter is taken further, they would be willing to give evidence on my behalf at trial. In the circumstances, it is clear that any such claim you would bring for defamation would be utterly without foundation. Should you bring any such claim, I would seek to strike it out as an abuse of the process of the court, and would seek to recover costs from you. Copyright. A valid takedown notice under the Digital Millennium Copyright Act requires the copyright owner, or its agent, to state that they have a good faith belief that the use of the material complained of is not authorised by the copyright owner, its agent, or the law. Given that your business is clearly involved in the exploitation of intellectual property, it is doubtless the case that you are aware of this procedure, and in any event it is a standard maxim in common law jurisdictions that ignorance of the law is no defence. The notice is an abuse of process for two reasons. 1. Your business is not set out any way in which I have infringed your copyright, as opposed to, for example, design right in the video. And 2. It is clear that any use of copyrighted material in the context of the video amounts to fair use. As you are doubtless aware, fair use at common law has also been incorporated into the Copyright Act of 1976, 17 U.S.C. paragraph 107. This provides that the fair use of a copyrighted work, including such use by reproduction or phonorecords, or any other means specified by that section for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, including multiple copies for classroom use, scholarship, or research, is not an infringement of copyright. In determining whether the use of a work in any particular case is fair use, the factors to be considered shall include 1. The purpose and character of use, including whether such use is of a commercial nature or is for non-profit educational purposes. 2. The nature of the copyrighted work. 3. The amount and substantiality of the portion used in relation to the copyrighted work as a whole. And 4. The effect of the use upon the potential market for or value of the copyrighted work. This matter has, of course, been considered by the Supreme Court of the United States in the case of Campbell v. Acuff, Rose Music Incorporated. I invite you to consider the decision of Justice Santerre in the case, which explains the scope of the doctrine of fair use. In the case of the video, it is clear that any of your company's intellectual property is featured only for the purpose of criticism, comment, reporting, teaching, and publicising research, and is clearly intended for non-profit educational purposes. There is no attempt to market a similar or competing product to the machine, and the only adverse effect upon the market value of your company's intellectual property would be to reduce it on the grounds that it was proven not to work. In the circumstances, it is clear that your use of the notice is not to protect your investment in intellectual property, but instead is to suppress legitimate criticism of the machine and other products. Such actions are well defined in US law as a strategic lawsuit against the public participation, a so-called SLAP. And unless and in the event any proceedings are brought against me in the United States, I shall rely upon these lines of authority in my defence. I shall also see sanctions against your company and any lawyers representing you in accordance with these authorities. Furthermore, your actions are actionable in England under the Prevention of Harassment Act. Unless I receive an apology from you for calling me a slanderer, and in particular if you seek to make further baseless threats against me, I will have no option but to consider taking this further. For the avoidance of doubt, all my rights are fully reserved. Sincerely yours, Answersinbooks. This letter awaits a response. In the meantime, I would like to direct you to my in-depth remarks on the industry of ionized water, made available on the following websites. There are suggested ways that you can get involved, as well as a good portion of the information I have gathered to date. The written content that I have produced is freely available for anyone who wants to use it or its contents on their websites. That said, links back to the source would be appreciated. The following persons need recognition in their support of freedom of expression, skepticism and science. Louis A. Beach of the Rational Skeptic and scienceofreason.org, Alexander Daly of Flying Evolutionist 59 and scienceofreason.org, Angry Womble, Sound of Silence, C.S. Bear and the other members of skepticTV. The following are persons or websites who either have or did have additional rebuttals to the water ionizer industry, including Waterworks4u. Lapkind77, Supersoylent 2, Fixed Gear 808, and scienceofreason.org. As for me, I have made my position clear on this issue by now. I have handed over details of these issues to others who will be chiefly taking over proceedings in the public arena, as and when the time is right. I will continue to take the sage advice of the experts who have helped me so far regarding my future options. In the meantime, I will be getting back to making the videos I want to make, rather than those I had to.